In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the concept of equipment assets in Maintenance Assistant. As an administrator or coordinator, you have the ability to manage assets from top to bottom. Organizational equipment is typically any tangible item that isn't geographically dependent, such as a lawnmower, a boat, or an overhead projector. In MA, equipment can be anything from a pencil to large machines like printing presses or airplanes. MA allows you to categorize your equipment and even assign it as a part of another piece of equipment. Maintenance Assistant sees the concept of equipment assets as depreciating non-consumable items that can be located anywhere from your local inventory storage to a hangar in Frankfurt Airport. MA also allows you to assign equipment assets to specific locations and facilities. This can help you organize your equipment geographically so you can find them faster when you need them. Always keep in mind not to unnecessarily complicate things. If you can, keep it simple. You can always change your equipment hierarchy later as needed. During this short guide, you'll learn how to set up equipment assets as well as manage asset categories, equipment and children equipment, add purchasing information, associate technicians who work on the equipment, and add a manufacturer or supplier. You can view or set up an equipment asset by selecting the CMMS main menu item and clicking Equipment, which is listed under Assets. Once you've opened the equipment browser, you can see a list of equipment assets to the right. Those assets can be viewed selectively by clicking the equipment category to the left. Understanding the function of categories and asset relationships will help you more efficiently manage your assets. Since categories are virtual and may not have any physical bearing on relationships between assets like location or common meter readings, it's best to think of them as folders that help you better organize and allow you to quickly find your assets. Parent-child asset relationships, however, most likely will have some kind of physical relationship, like location or common meter readings. For my example, I'm going to add a train and its carriages to CMMS so I can automate an axle inspection on the carriages every 20,000 kilometers. Since my maintenance facility houses a lot of equipment, the first thing I want to do is to create a new category so later I can quickly find anything relating to my trains. I can do that by navigating to the Actions menu and selecting Create New Asset Category. I've called my category Trains to keep it simple. Next, I'm going to want to add our newest train. It's a Pendolino 390T with 6 carriages. So I'll go to the Actions menu and click on Create New Asset and begin filling out the details. You'll notice that on the General tab, I can select which category I'd like my train to be part of, as well as where my equipment is located. This is important when you quickly need to locate an item or find out what you've got at a specific location. Next, I'm going to add the 6 carriages that make up the Pendolino. You'll notice here that I can select a parent item for my carriage. I'm going to choose the Pendolino. This way, my carriage will inherit important information like location, and in the future, maintenance and meter readings. Once I've added all 6 of my carriages, I'm going to need to add the axles, so I can later add some meter reading criteria for my maintenance. Since I'm interested in scheduling maintenance on my train's axles, I'm going to add 4 axles to each carriage, in the same way I've added carriages to my Pendolino. Select New Asset, and begin filling out the details. Once this is complete, and I've made my axles a child asset to the correct carriage, I'm going to move on to the Purchasing tab, and fill out the price and received date. Now I'd like to make sure my technician Larry is notified when maintenance needs to be performed on my axles, so I'll move to the Personnel tab, and I'll add him by clicking Add, and selecting his name from the drop-down list. Finally, I'm going to set up my 4 axles for each carriage. Since my axles are interchangeable parts, I'd like to make sure the stock is depleting every time one is replaced. I'll move over to the Parts tab and select the axles which I've previously set up in the Parts and Supplies area. To finish off, I'm going to add my manufacturer to make sure the system automatically sends out a quote request for every time my axles are close to depletion. I can do that by moving to the Businesses tab and clicking the Add button. I'll select Alstrom from the drop-down and check Send RFQ. Now that I'm finished, I can be sure that my axles will be checked regularly, and new parts will be ordered, avoiding the need to manually check my stock.